Most regret isn't about what you did. It's about judging who you were with the information you didn't have yet. And if that sentence landed somewhere uncomfortable, stay with me. Hi, friend. Welcome to Caffeine and Clarity. This episode is for the quiet moments, the ones that really don't announce themselves, the moments that catch you off guard when you're driving with no music on, folding laundry, washing your face, and pausing a second longer than usual. Those moments when your mind suddenly goes back, not to the whole story, to just that one moment, that one decision, that one version of you. And before you even realize it, your inner voice says, I should have known better. Let's take a breath together and sit with it for a moment. On my birthday, my dad called. Nothing dramatic, nothing heavy, just a normal, casual call. So, when are you coming to South Florida again? He asked. I've never been great at lying, and honestly, I don't want to be. So I told him the truth. I was just there last week, I said, celebrating my 50th. There was a pause. Not awkward, just quiet. Then we moved on. At the time, it felt fine, normal, honest. I didn't think much of it. 6 days later, I got the call. Stage 4 cancer. He was in the hospital and it didn't look good. When fear shows up, I usually move straight into optimism. So I was trying to convince myself, he's strong. He'll get through this. We still have time. And still, I booked a flight right away. Because just in case carries so much more weight when it involves someone you love, no matter how much distance there's been. When I walked into the hospital room, everything I've been holding on to quietly fell away. The resentment, the distance, the stories I'd been telling myself, none of it mattered anymore. All I could see was my dad, smaller than I remembered, vulnerable, human. And I told him out loud that he was loved, then, now, and always. And that everything was forgiven. And almost immediately, my mind turned on me. I started replaying that birthday call, the timing, the honesty. I wondered if that moment, if telling the truth had somehow pushed him to go to the hospital. I know that sounds irrational. I know I didn't cause the cancer. And still, the what if stayed with me. It settled into a place in my heart I didn't realize was still tender. That's the thing about regret. It doesn't need logic. It shows up where there's closeness, timing, and love. And maybe that's why it hurt as much as it did, because my dad and I hadn't always been here. When I was little, we were very, very close. The kind of close where your dad feels like your safe place, your hero, someone you believe can handle anything. But kids grow up. Parents become more human. And relationships, all relationships, they change in ways we don't always know how to navigate. Over time, things between us became more complicated. Not dramatic, not explosive, just distant. There were hurt feelings, unmet expectations, questions that didn't get answered the way I needed them to. I'm someone who believes relationships work best when effort is met halfway. And after trying to communicate more than once and not feeling movement, I built a quiet barrier. I'm not saying that was the right choice. I'm just being honest about how I handled it. I wasn't angry, but I wasn't fully open either. I kept him at arm's length, and I told myself I was protecting my peace. Standing beside his hospital bed, something shifted. I realized how much time I had spent wanting explanations, understanding the why behind things that hurt. And at the time, I thought that was grace because I believed that if I could understand the reason, I could make sense of the pain. I thought grace meant staying in the conversation, asking hard questions, and waiting for accountability before letting myself soften. I told myself that wanting clarity was being fair. What I didn't see was that grace isn't always about understanding the reason. Sometimes it's about letting go of the need for one. And in that room, I also realized I hadn't considered how hard it might have been for him to feel weak or wrong in front of the one person who once saw him as unbreakable. I wanted accountability. What he may have needed was safety. I'll never really know. I'm grateful for friends who know how to speak gently to me when it matters most. During this time, one of them shared something with me, not as advice, just as a perspective. She helped me see that even if I had found some peace, it didn't mean he had. And that forgiveness, given freely and without conditions, could still matter. Not because it was owed, but because it might bring comfort. I don't remember her exact words. I was overwhelmed. Grief, tears, and understanding all mixed together. It was a big blur. But the message remained. Grace isn't forgiveness earned. Grace is forgiveness given. So if you're holding on to something from the past, an old hurt, or the distance you created to protect yourself, maybe this is a moment to pause with that. And if the person you're still thinking about is still here, and there's even a small part of you that still cares, maybe there's still room to reach out. Not to fix everything, not to reopen old wounds. Maybe it's as simple as a phone call, talking about nothing important, letting things soften a little over time. Sometimes grace doesn't come all at once. Sometimes it starts small, and when it does, it becomes a gift for them and for you. That lesson came the day before my dad passed. And yes, I regret that it took so long. I regret the years of distance, the sharp words I chose at times, the grace I held back while waiting for the answers. But I also know this. I did what I felt was right with the information I had at the time. And when regret comes back, because it still does, I try to offer myself the same grace. So let me ask you something. Is there a moment you replay now that you know how the story turned out? A version of yourself you judged with information you didn't have then? If that version of you were sitting across from you right now, would you speak to them the same way you do in your head? Or would you soften your voice even a little? Here's your sip of the day. You are not wrong for not knowing what only time could teach you. I want to repeat that. You are not wrong for not knowing what only time could teach you. Regret doesn't mean you failed. Sometimes it means you cared deeply before you understood the cost. What might change if you treated your past self with a little bit more kindness? Before we wrap up, I just want to say this. If Caffeine and Clarity has felt like a steady place for you, a quiet companion in your week, there are a few simple ways to support what we're building here. You can subscribe to the channel or the podcast. It costs nothing, but it helps more than you might realize. If you're able and feel called to, you can donate to support the show or visit our shop and pick up something that feels meaningful to you. There's no pressure ever, just gratitude for being here, for listening, and for helping this space continue to exist for the moments when it's needed. Thank you for sitting with me today, for letting this be slow, honest, and unfinished. New episodes of Caffeine and Clarity come out every Sunday. Until then, be gentle with the version of you who was doing the best that they could. I'll meet you back here real soon.